안녕하세요. 신태정 원장입니다. 이번 주도 마찬가지로 저번 주와 같이 우리 교통사고 전문 변호사인 마이클 몰먼 변호사와 함께 미주리주와 캔자스주에 대한 교통사고 사례 케이스를 좀 알아볼까 합니다. 여러분께 도움이 많이 되실 것 같습니다. 끝까지 시청해 주시기 바랍니다. Can you explain about what is no fault state in Kansas?
Sure. In Kansas, you cannot make a claim against the other driver unless you have more than $2,000 in medical bills. So, and also, Kansas has PIP coverage. We talked about it a little bit last week, personal injury protection coverage, PIP. Every auto policy in Kansas has it for $4,500 of medical bills. So, unless you have an injury serious enough to get $2,000 worth of treatment, and even if it's over that, up to $4,500, you look to your own insurance company to pay regardless of fault. So that's the no fault. Your insurance policy will pay $4,500 even if you just run into a tree versus get rear-ended by someone.
Okay, so the same thing. It's very important thing is if you go to the ER after a car accident, their medical bill will be adjusting very fast. So
yes.
if I want to increase up my PIP or medical payment, then I need to talk to my insurance company agent,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Sure.
Another question, Mike.
Yeah.
I am a Missouri resident or Kansas resident, and I got in a car accident in different states.
Okay.
How do I handle this? And also, what state laws will apply to me?
Sure. If you're a Kansas resident and you get in a wreck in Missouri, Missouri law will apply to the claim between you and the other driver. Kansas law, because you're a Kansas resident with a Kansas auto policy, will apply to your relationship with your insurance company. So in Missouri, you would still have the claim against the other driver, but you would also have your PIP coverage, $4,500 in personal injury protection coverage, even though the wreck happened in Missouri, and they would still have to pay per your Kansas policy for property damage or whatnot.
Okay.
Vice versa, if you are a Missouri resident and you get in a wreck in Kansas, again, Kansas law will apply to the wreck, and there's a benefit though, because Kansas requires personal injury protection coverage. Everybody. So even if you don't have it on Missouri or you don't have MedPay, when you drive into Kansas, your policy is assumed to have it. So any wreck in Kansas, your policy will have personal injury protection coverage that can help pay your medical bills.
Really? I have a question, Mike. Then, my friend was driving. I was in the passenger.
Sure.
And then we got a car accident. That was his fault.
Okay.
And then I have my own insurance.
Yes.
And then he has own insurance too.
Yes.
So it happened in Kansas. We are living in Kansas.
Yep.
So that means, should I have to using my insurance first or his insurance?
His insurance will pay for the injury portion, but your insurance may pay for the personal injury protection portion of the bills, the first $4,500. But anything over that, or including that, you would look to your friend and his insurance company.
Oh,
so,
I see.
Yeah, you basically treat your driver as if he was somebody in another car.
Okay. How about deer? You know, we in Kansas.
Yeah. You can't sue deer.
Okay.
So that's tough. But if you get into a wreck with a deer or icy conditions take you off the road or something like that, again, in Kansas, you'll have personal injury protection coverage to pay the first $4,500 of your medical bills. Missouri does not require anything like that, but they have the optional coverage we talked last week, MedPay. And MedPay will pay the first whatever amount of your medical bills you've purchased from your insurance company. So Missouri residents, look at your policy. If you do not have MedPay coverage, call your insurance rep and talk to them about getting that because it's very helpful. For property damage, again, it's going to depend on what coverages you have on your own vehicle. Some people, if they have an older car, they may not have property damage coverage. So in that case, you're out of luck. But if you have property damage coverage, your insurance will also pay for that.
All right. I like this question. What common mistakes should be avoided?
Sure. And the easiest way to screw up a personal injury case, first of all, you don't get a police report. and then the other driver could possibly change their story. You get a police report, police officer comes out, he talks to you, talks to the other driver, takes a diagram of the scene, maybe takes some photos, so you know exactly what happened. The next thing is failing to get medical treatment. A lot of people either don't want to pay for it or they think they're going to be fine. And with soft tissue, neck and back injuries, it often takes a couple days for it to show up. So oftentimes people are fine, and then day 2 or day 3 they can't get out of bed.
Exactly.
And even then they take some Advil and they work through it, and all of a sudden it's 2 or 3 weeks down the road and it's not going away. Then all of a sudden the insurance company can claim that, well, maybe something happened in that 2 or 3 weeks.
Then is there any, I'm sorry, yeah, please go ahead.
Oh no, so it's just very important. Get medical treatment, get checked out after a wreck regardless of whether you think you're hurt or
Mandatory.
not. It's a good idea.
Okay.
Just to protect yourself. And then if you are having pain or problems, continue and do what your doctor says. The biggest mistake you can make is to not follow your doctor's advice.
Exactly. What should I do in a situation of hit and run? It's sad. I know, I don't like this, but
Right.
somebody hit you and just run away.
Sure. Everything you would do normally. Call the police, go to the hospital if you think your injuries are severe enough, or go to see your chiropractor or primary care physician. The difference is who you would be making a claim against. Because there's no other driver, you would make a claim against your uninsured motorist coverage.
Uninsured motor insurance.
Yeah. So you know, there's 3 coverages on every auto policy that are possible. Liability. So if I run into you, you sue me on my liability coverage because I'm liable for your injury.
Okay.
2, I run into you and leave,
Wow.
and you don't know who I am. Then you make an uninsured motorist claim because you've got a driver that you can't find. And then the next one is really underused. It's underinsured coverage. UIM, underinsured motorist coverage. That's a situation where I run into you and I hurt you severely, but I've got very low insurance limits that won't pay for all of your damages.
Oh.
So underinsured, you buy coverage to protect yourself. So the minimums in Missouri and Kansas are $25,000. So if I hit you and I've got $25,000 in coverage and you've got serious injuries, if you have $100,000 in underinsured coverage, your insurance will pay the difference between $25,000 and $100,000.
That's nice.
It's mandatory in Kansas. It is optional in Missouri. And I have had many clients who did not have it and wished they did, and vice versa. We've had situations where we have been able to make people whole because we've looked to their underinsured coverage because the other driver just didn't have enough. It's very important.
Then what happened if somebody hit me from behind? That was not my fault. But he's like threatening me. This is not my fault. This is your fault because you didn't watch the traffic light.
Sure.
Why did you stop here? Because I stopped on the stop light, red light. Then he hit me from behind. So it's very traffic, a lot of traffic jam, and then still do I need to call police or should I have to move the car the other side first?
Try to call the police. They will tell you whether you should get off the road onto the median or whatnot. If they say stay there, stay there. It's always best not to move the vehicles, but sometimes if you're in traffic. But yeah, if the other driver is yelling or screaming, stay in your car and call 911.
Okay, don't open the door.
Right.
Okay. And also after that, sometimes they hit me, and then we is greeting and changing information each other, and then we figured out he doesn't have insurance.
Right.
What happened?
That's when you make a claim against your insurance company.
My own insurance company.
Your uninsured motorist coverage.
In Kansas and Missouri. Same.
And both, yes.
Both. Okay.
And that's why the driver that hit you did not have insurance, so it is an uninsured. He is not insured, uninsured motorist claim.
Awesome. Okay, so another question. I like this one too. If the people who just the walking on the road, pedestrians involved, so we hit them, or somebody hit me, and then we hit him. It's really complicated cases. What should I have to do?
Well, again, get a police report, whether you're the pedestrian or the driver. And I've worked on those cases. And it kind of comes down to who has the right of way, even though a pedestrian, It's kind of odd to think about right-of-way, but there are rules and laws in every city about, who has the right-of-way at a crosswalk. And oftentimes it's whoever entered the intersection first. So if the pedestrian started in first, they've got the right-of-way and the car has to stop.
That's scary. I mean, sometimes they don't care, just walk through.
Right. So it's always best idea to be cautious.
Okay.
And there's also the case where, a child darts out between two cars. If it's not at a crosswalk, it's a different analysis. But number one rule is still call the police, get them out there. If the injuries are severe enough, they're going to call an ambulance, and they'll do their investigation.
Many people, even though me, sometimes I don't understand the coverage of my insurance policy.
Sure.
So it could be body injury is usually, this is my own policy. So body injury is about usually $250,000 to $500,000, and then property damage, which is my car damage, right? So there's 100, and then a PIP. You just mentioned that because I'm living in Kansas. So PIP, personal injury protection, is about the MedPay, and also they mentioned about funeral, work loss. Wow, this is great. I didn't know this one too. Many people, they don't know about this.
Many people get just the lowest coverage they can because it's cheapest. And that may be all you can afford in certain situations. But once you get past that phase in your life, hopefully look at your protections, because the liability, you've got $250,000, $500,000.
Right.
That means that your insurance company will pay $250,000 per person injured and $500,000 per wreck.
Okay.
So if two people get hurt, they could each theoretically recover $250,000.
Each person.
If three people, the max is $500,000, with no one individual getting more than $250,000.
Really? Okay.
And then property, again, depending on where you are and the value of your car, you need to look at it. Underinsured motorist coverage, med pay, rental insurance, roadside assistance is something I've got on my policy. Never used it, but just in case.
I have another, a very simple question. I just wanted to make clear. So we just mentioned that Kansas we call personal injury protection.
Yes.
And then Missouri State they call medical payment.
Yes.
So let's say I have $4,500, and also Missouri State I have a medical payment $4,500. But what is body injury? It's a little confused again. I'm sorry.
Bodily injury coverage is payment for an injury you caused to somebody else.
Oh, not me.
Not you.
Another people.
Right.
Oh, I see.
It's essentially your liability coverage. It's if I injure you, your policy will pay up to $250,000 per person and $500,000 per wreck.
Right, because still some people, they got a car accident, they fall, and then they said, I don't have a, body injury. So I don't have any liability. So, okay, so we better to have that insurance coverage too, right?
Yeah, and bodily injury is required in Missouri and Kansas. And what'll pay for your medical bills if you're at fault, it would be, like you said, the med pay or the PIP.
That's great. I really appreciated this, all spending your time. This is really worth the time to sharing with you. So thank you very much, Mike Momo, one more time.
Thank you, Doctor.
Appreciate it. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Right. 지금까지 저번 주와 이번 주까지 저희 교통사고 전문 변호사인 마이크 모일먼과 함께 이야기를 나눴습니다. 여러분께서 많은 도움이 되셨으리라 생각을 하고요. 운전할 때 텍스트 하지 마시고요. 운전할 때는 운전만, 전화도 하지 마시고 운전만 하시고 코비드-19 항상 건강하시고 언제나 건강하시고 행복하셨으면 좋겠습니다. 감사드립니다. 다음 주 금요일 날 또 뵙도록 하겠습니다.